It just seems like I have a speech impediment. Are you werewolf tribal? Welcome, CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I am Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're delayed.
We are so delayed.
We're cousins.
I'm just like counting 1, 2. All right, Lowry's answering. Well, the funny thing is I'm like, is he answering or is there static? And I didn't even hear him respond. So I'm like, oh shit. You may have noticed that we did not do a song this week for the very first time. Episode 111 is our first no song week.
It's totally because we're going to talk about so many cards from the new Commander set that we just don't have time for the song.
It's so new to us that originally we were teasing like on Twitter that, hey, we're going to be doing, what is it? Most underrated,
yeah.
Planeswalkers, but then they dropped the entire Commander set 2020 on us. So we're going to go, that's all we're doing this week. So we're not really going to do much more.
After our Christmas, so we want to do it justice.
For sure.
Try.
We even did a little bit of it earlier this week with our Discord. We kind of did a live thing going over the cards for the week and really only went over, what was it, the 5 Planeswalkers or the 5 Commanders?
I haven't really looked at anything beyond that other than what's been posted in our Discord and or Twitter.
Yeah, so some of this will be new as we're going through it. We're just like, oh shit, this is a good card. Or we may sit there and think and be like, I don't know. We may do the stupid thing and say, nah, this is really bad, and then get comments later that it's actually really good because we're seeing some of this for the first time. But before we get into that, we have a couple people to thank. We have 2 new patrons this week. I think, is this for Mark and Marky Mark. What is it? Mark Arneson and Mark Bray. Marcus, actually one is Marcus Arneson and the other one's Mark Bray.
He's going to get shortened to Mark.
Marky Mark sounds better. Thank you guys for being our patrons. Did they get into the Discord already?
One of the Marks did.
Nice. So yeah, if you're $1,
I think both marks are in.
Both marks are in. Sweet.
I believe so. Yeah.
If you're a $1 patron or higher, you get into the Discord, and the Discord's been kind of crazy active. We actually have been doing some playing. Actually, you've played some games with people. What, via your camera, webcam?
Mr. Bash set us up with a game last week, and then I played with another friend through Skype, and then you're playing through Cockatrice. Right?
Yeah, Cockatrice I just found out about, but you've heard of Cockatrice before, and so I brought it up to you. I played it back during Scars and Mirrodin back in the day. And you said at that point they didn't have like pictures or anything like that?
Not that I remember.
Yeah, so this has pictures. It works pretty slick. It's old school, though. I mean, it feels old school. It feels like a 90s computer game. Maybe not 90s, maybe like early 2000s or something like that. So it's like, but once you get the hang of it, it's all right click. So everything that you do, you can right click and put counters on it. You can change your creature power and toughness. You can give people creatures and whatever. So it's kind of pretty sweet once you get a hang of it. And so we played a couple games on there, and the cool thing is if you already have your deck online, like tapped out like we do, all I was able to do is just copy that. There's a copy to clipboard, and you just paste it in there. You have to delete the set that it's from, but that's it, and then your deck's all ready to go. So we got a couple games in the other night, and that was pretty fun. So but yeah, so that's what we've been doing on our quarantine. We're trying to figure out how to play Magic still. This is gonna be really weird.
The addicts we are.
Yeah. The weirdest thing is you're having a baby soon, and I kind of was texting you this week, or today, I should say. It's going to be weird because I probably won't meet your baby in person for like months, the way things are going. It's
very practical and probable.
Yeah. It's going to be really weird. Well, our family did a cool thing with Zoom we just did on Sunday is everybody kind of got on there and
your family. Yeah.
Yeah. Our Smith family. So not just my family, is Lowry's family. Lowry was working, so I got to see his son and wife, and everybody was on there. So it was kind of sweet. So we're kind of doing a weekly thing with our family doing that.
Yeah.
So,
what beer are you drinking?
Oh yeah. So I actually did this one as a sharing with Adam this weekend when we were at our house. We slept at our house for the first time. It's not done. We have sheetrock up and we were able to sleep there with heat, but it's called Road Rash Raspberry Lemon. It's a sociable cider works. I don't know where this is from.
They do good stuff from my understanding.
Yeah, this is pretty delicious. I can't have more than maybe one or two of them because it feels like it's a little heartburny in the can, but it's pretty delicious. I think I still like the sours that you got me into better, but this is a good raspberry beer. What are you drinking?
I prefer sours. Ciders tend to give me like gut rot.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm gonna do my last not sharing with Adam, and it's from the Brewing Project again, which is a strawberry resist milkshake.
Wait. Back it up. It's your last not sharing with me? You're not going to do it anymore?
Just from this last week.
Oh.
My last one that I did.
Damn it. I thought you were ending this. Like you were like, "Oh, okay, we didn't do a song this week, so now I am ending the not sharing with Adam and I'm going to start sharing with Adam." No, that's still going.
I enjoy kind of half-ass torturing you. So
I don't mind it when you do it. I don't like it that everybody starts jumping on board because then I just feel left out and I just want everybody to share. It's not very nice.
It's great. And they're great suggestions. So keep not sharing with Adam.
So that's one thing you can do on Twitter. You can follow us there. That's where you see you can see that we're going to be a day late this week. We both were pretty busy this past weekend. So we just kind of moved things back. So if you go on there, that's where you'll see, interact with us and see if we were going to be late or ask us questions or anything like that. You can also find Proxy of the Week there. And then if you really want to, you can become a patron and you can get cards from the Proxy of the Week stuff. The Discord has just been crazy. Larry got that shit set up and it's been awesome.
Poppin'.
The phone just blows up and I'm like, okay, I have to mute this. I'm trying to work.
But I had to mute it when I was working this weekend. I was like, I can't. I'm going to be looking at all these cards. I got to get shit done.
It's very tempting because all of a sudden you just get a little notification. It's like, oh, well, I'll just answer this. I'll just do a comment here. And then all of a sudden you're an hour and a half later. And it's like, well, fuck, I didn't get anything done because everybody's chatty Cathy's. Mm-hmm. YouTube.
You can always email us.
YouTube's free way to support us. I think we're about to break 200 people on YouTube, which is sweet. The goal is to get to 1,000. So we're 1/5 of the way there almost. I'm checking. I'm updating it as we speak.
Yes. That is. Oh, I thought you were not checking my math. It would be 1/5. Yeah. If we're about 200.
No, we're at 199. So we need one more person. Then we break that 200. Wow. But the goal is to get to 1,000. Follow us on there. Even if you guys don't listen to us on YouTube or anything like that, we're having more and more videos. So it might be a good idea anyways to subscribe there. But even still, just go on there, subscribe, and then that's it. That's all you have to do. Should we get into the actual episode of...
Let's do this.
Oh, wait. I feel like that fits. Because you just want to rock out with your cock out with this stuff.
Oh.
Right?
I don't think I ever want to do that.
Should we talk about... What do we have here? We have five new decks?
New decks, which is nice. I like that they've gone back to 5.
Yeah, for sure. And then actually we have a couple. Let's kind of talk about some of the new mechanics that are in this before we actually get into stuff.
I think we'll hit all of them throughout the decks.
Well, for sure, because there's new mechanic stuff. Well, yeah, we can just kind of walk through, and when we hit the card, then it's easier to explain. Like the first one. Do you want to start us off with that first deck? The first
deck. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the first set is called Enhanced Evolution. So nice. This starts with our first. Why don't you start with that one?
That's going to be Otrimi, the Ever Playful, which is 3 colorless, black, green, blue, 6/6, legendary creature, Nightmare Beast, Trample, and then we're getting into a new mechanic.
Whoop, whoop.
Mutate. So Mutate is, you can mutate this card for colorless, black, green, blue, And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, return target creature card with Mutate from your graveyard to your hand.
So
Mutate's like a weird aura style card.
Yes. So a couple things with Mutate. When you cast the creature for Mutate, if it's targeting a creature and that somebody responds and destroys that creature, the Mutate creature just goes into play, which is kind of cool. And you had mentioned when we did our live cast thing before with Bestow does the similar thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's very similar to
Mutate does is you are targeting a creature and you get to choose if it go like one card goes on top, one creature goes on top, and one creature goes on bottom. The top creature is its full self. It is a full creature. The bottom creature is giving its stats or its abilities to the top creature.
That's a really good way of explaining it. I like that. So it doesn't give you the power. Trample. Yeah, it doesn't give you the power and toughness though of that creature. It's the
bottom is just like if it has flying or vigilance or another mutate ability, those all would end up stacking and giving those abilities to the top creature.
Yeah. And then you can, like Lowry just said, mutate multiple times. So if you have another creature that has mutate, you can put that, and there's already a creature with a mutated creature on it, you can put the next one on, and then so on and so on. So you can
and then both of those mutates will happen. So it'll trigger twice. So it's also like a weird enter the battlefield going on as well. So it's like ETB creature with an aura. Now, if they are fully mutated and somebody kills that creature, they both go because they are one creature.
Yeah.
At that point.
So you're more Voltroning where you're just stacking your creature up and it becomes more of a target, an easier target. If they can kill that, then they wipe out everything instead of having these be multiple creatures, which you can still cast this as a creature instead of a mutate. But typically, and we'll get into this as we go through, the mutate cost is a lot of times cheaper. There are times that are more expensive because of the mutate ability is normally a lot better. But a lot of times we're seeing that they're cheaper.
And the reason why I kind of think of it like auras a little bit is auras are good if you're playing with like hexproof creatures or indestructible type creatures, ones that can kind of protect themselves. And then it's not like a 2-for-1 style. You got to work a little harder at it. And that's kind of what you get here is you can, if you're not getting card advantage out of your mutate and that creature dies, like it's a 2-for-1, essentially.
Yeah.
And so if you can protect it in some way, that's going to be much better with these mutate cards.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, I guess let's get to the end of it and we'll talk about how we feel about everything.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
So the next card, you're going to have to help me with this, and Larry, we said it before when we were talking beforehand, but it's, what is it?
Capricopian.
So it's a Goat Hydra, green X, and it's 0/0. It enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Tap 2, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then you may redirect which player it is attacking. Only the player it is attacking may activate this ability, and only during the declare attacker's step. And in parentheses, it can't attack its controller, obviously. So it's kind of crazy because if this thing comes in huge, you're like, all right, this is a 7/7. And then, people might keep 2 mana up just to make it so that they don't get attacked. But here's the question, and I think I know the answer. Can it be changed multiple times? So if the person goes, all right, I'm attacking, let's say I'm attacking you, Lowry, and you go, all right, well, I'm going to tap 2 and put in a counter on it. Now you're attacking Trombley. Can Trombley react and go, I tap 2, put a counter on it, now it's attacking Lowry? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can switch.
I believe that's what happens.
Yeah, so people can, you could just go, it could be like almost
reading it right now, I'm just like, what? Because like a player can do it multiple times in a turn. That's why it's not like at a triggered time. So it's like whenever this creature attacks you, you can pay 2 and put a 1/1 counter on it, and then say that it attacks somebody else. It's just like.
I guess my part where I feel like it could be wrong.
If it's attacking you, you can have it attack somebody else.
because the only part where I feel like it could be, put them on a counter, then you may redirect, blah, 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 is attacking. Oh, yeah, so it's now attacking another player. So, yeah, that person could definitely pay 2. So
yeah.
You may end up just, yeah, it's almost like a bidding war. Like, I'm going to pay 2 more, and now he's bigger, and he's attacking you. And the last second, you change the target to the one person that wasn't involved that doesn't have any mana, and then they're screwed. Actually, that could be a way that you go back and forth. If you're playing this out, like you have a player that's open, and you purposely attack, like let's say you're not open, so I attack you. And then Trombley's like, all right, I'm going to pay 2, you put it to Trombley, and you guys go back and forth on purpose. And then the last person goes, all right, now it's going towards number 2.
Number 2.
Let me do it.
Number 2.
There we go.
This seems, and it seems like it could get big really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
So you almost want to attack into the person with 2 mana and not chump blockers, and then they can like redirect you to put more counters on there.
Yeah, that's a good point. The only thing that gets worrisome is that if they redirect it to get it killed,
That's a really good point too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this will take some interesting thought when you're attacking with this thing. All right, let's move on to our next one. I believe that's on you, Lowry.
Boneyard Mycodrax. 2 colorless and a black for a creature fungus. It's a star. Boneyard Mycodrax. Power and toughness are equal to the number of other creature cards in your graveyard. Scavenge 5.
And scavenge. What is scavenge again?
Scavenge is you pay the 5, exile this card, and then you get to put that many 1/1 counters on a creature for its power. And so as many creatures are in there, and it'd be feeding into itself as well. You can pay 5 and maybe put, 5, 6, 7, 8 counters on a creature for the scavenge cost.
I like that it's a fungus. I didn't realize it was a fungus. Fungus among us. All right, let's move down. Oh, this one's pretty sweet. So this one's like an ultimate, like going in my Yuriko deck immediately, but it's, what is it? Yukima.
Say that.
Stalking Shadow. 1 blue-black whale wolf. Legendary creature whale wolf.
Werewolf?
No, whale wolf. It's Cool Whip. Why are you saying it weird? Cool Whip.
Why? That's how I say Cool Whip.
Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H? What are you talking about? Cool Whip. Say cool. Say whip. Sorry. I'll just plug in the Family Guy quote right there. So
just cut out all that and plug in.
So we got partners coming back, which is pretty sweet. It's still like the Battle Bond partners where they battle with a specific creature. But this one partners with, was it Caesar Ruthless Stalker? Caesar? Is it Caesar? How would you even say that one? I hate
Caesar.
Yeah, and we'll get to that one in a little bit. But what this one does, Mr. Whalewolf, can't be blocked. And then when it leaves the battlefield, it deals X damage to target player, and you gain X life where X is its power, and it is a 2/2. So the reason why this is sweet for Yuriko is Yuriko, you want creatures that are unblockable, and which is this. And then normally, like my deck is built on the ETB stuff. There isn't a lot of stuff that when it leaves play, normally if it leaves, it's like talking about going to the graveyard. But this is specifically saying when it leaves the battlefield. So it doesn't have to go to the graveyard. It can be bounced. And so that's what is perfect for Yuriko is you're attacking, you're Nijitsuing, returning the creature back to your hand. You're doing 2 damage. I know it's not a ton, but with that Yuriko deck, I only have like one other ninja, the one that gives lifelink to my ninjas. That's my only life source, like gaining life. So this thing is for sure going in that deck because you're doing damage. Also, Yuriko does damage by flipping the top cards. So you're potentially doing a crap ton of damage with this card. Not with just this
totally
card.
On theme, too.
Yeah.
Totally on theme.
What are you talking about? The whale wolf?
It's like somebody's like, hey, how do we make Yeah, they put whale wolf. they had a child try and say werewolf, and then they're like, yeah, we can make a whale wolf.
Whale wolf.
Whale wolf.
Can you see building around? Well, I would build. We'll get to the partner part, but could you see building a deck with this guy by himself?
Kima? I think he's, like you said, perfect in Yuriko.
Yeah. I don't think it would work well with, unless you had other things bouncing, but Yuriko's like the perfect setup for this guy. I guess we'll see what his partner is. Maybe those two could make a good deck together. We should actually, why don't you jump to that one? That one's the next one.
Kazur, Ruthless Stalker, 3 colorless green for a 3/3 legendary creature human warrior. Partners with Yukima. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's basically getting your whale wolf bigger and bigger and bigger, and then
Yukima. It should just be Yukima the whale wolf, right?
Whale wolf. Yeah.
Whale wolf.
Whale wolf. I don't know why I like saying that so much.
Whale wolf.
It just seems like I have a speech impediment. Why are you playing with? Are you werewolf tribal? Why? No, I am a werewolf tribal. No, I think you're werewolf. Werewolf. Now I can't even say whale correctly. This is stupid. So in a deck like that, where you're using 3 colors here, you're probably more focused on, I don't know, him dying instead, you know?
Right?
Right?
I mean, you could just have him like returning a creature back to the hand too, but like giving Yukima with Kazur, like double strike and just like put 2 counters on him.
So yeah, you could,
and then make them bigger. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, then you could really turn that into a Voltron thing where your whale wolf is the, he can't be blocked, so you just keep putting stuff on him, like you were saying there. You could get double strike on him. Although double strike with the colors we have, there isn't a lot. I mean, you'd have to do equipment then, which that works fine.
Air Shrieker.
Yeah, there's totally enough stuff that you could do that. So that seems interesting. I don't know if I'd build a deck with it. It's not too crazy because you're just really focused.
This green guy doesn't really do a lot for me. I think he does better on his own in a going wide strategy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because whenever a creature you control. Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll affect anybody that does combat damage.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems better. Like putting this in like a Traxa. I think there's a place for this guy. I think there's a place for both of them. I just don't think they have to be together.
Right. I think they're in other decks. Like Yuriko's a perfect fit for Whale Wolf. And then, like you said, Whale Wolf. All right. Next card is Tidal Barracuda. Barracuda. 3 and a blue. It's a fish. 3/4. Any player may cast spells as though they had flash. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. This is pretty damn sweet. This seems like
pretty damn sweet.
Yeah, you're making it so that everybody's hurting each other. I mean, casting stuff at instant speed, but then on your turn, you're fine. Like it. Yeah. I like this a lot. They seem to have a couple of these cards in this that do that.
Do they? It's awesome. Like that you can just play everything at flash, and it's so cheap. You know what I mean? 4. Fucking Ori's at this, at 4, and that makes it really good. Mm-hmm. And then stopping people playing from your turn, giving you that protection is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig it a lot.
I think this is going to be a really cool card. At least it's a really cool card. Mm-hmm. I don't know how powerful it is because it's going to create a lot of chaos. Yeah. I think.
Havoc and chaos. No, I can see almost any blue deck you could fit this right in there, because being able to play your stuff at flash is pretty sweet too. And then just having the only downfall for everybody else is on your turn, so that it just seems pretty damn sweet.
Yeah, no, this is probably pretty good. I like it quite a bit.
And our next one is basically our Hydra commander. Let's read that one.
So is the X like an X in this one, or is it like a Z, but the Z is there?
So you say...
Is it Zazara or Zaxara?
I like Zaxara. That sounds
Zaxara cool. The Exemplary. That sounds maybe right.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Colorless, black, green, blue, 2/3, Nightmare Hydra, Death Touch. Taps, add 2 mana of any one color. And then whenever you cast a spell with X in your mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token, then put X/1/1 counters on it. It's a Meat Force deck, right?
For sure. Kind of. Well, create a 0/0. So it's a slow Meat Force, but they're big Meat Force. They're big meats. Really big.
Seriously, meats. I would put this as X spell. It doesn't have to be Hydra. I probably wouldn't even put a Hydra in this.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the one thing you're missing is red to be able to get a lot of those like Fireball or, like you have a lot of red that you could use there.
How cool would that be? Would be like Genesis Wave.
Oh, yeah.
For X, and then put a ton of things, and then put a huge Hydra into play.
Well, the one card that has gone up, and we talked a little bit about it, was Unbound Flourishing from Modern Horizons because that's an enchantment that whenever you cast a permanent with X in it, you double that value, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, let's see, activate that contains X, you copy it, so you do 2 of it. So that's why that card went kind of crazy over once this card was revealed.
Yeah, no, this card seems really cool. Mono green. Like, if I'm going Hydras, I want red in there because they do splash that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably throw in a couple. Not saying that you can't, because then you get 2 Hydras for the price of 1. But I don't know. Something to me speaks like almost all instants and sorceries of X. Just roll with that. Seems like a crazy.
Yeah, because you don't need other creatures because you're making them by casting instants and sorceries.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I like that idea. This could be a deck that I back to the we haven't done that in a while, but something that I could pee on. I haven't peed on it yet, but this could be a fun deck.
It seems really cool. Yeah. You can pee all over it, and then I'll just make the deck later.
All right. Well, the next one we have is Souvenir Snatcher. It is it's 4 and a blue for a creature bird. It's a 4/4 flying. Yeah, creature birds. So it's a 4/4 flying. Whenever this creature mutates, gain control of target non-creature artifact. It's mutate cost, so this is one of the ones that are more expensive. This is 5 and 1 blue. But once you get it on there and you keep mutating it, you can keep stealing people's like soul rings or well, you probably can't take the Sensei top because I'll put it on top. But this seems pretty interesting though. 5 for a 4/4 flying that steals a non-artifact creature or non-creature artifact.
If you are playing enough mutate cards, this does feel like something that could kind of take over the game, but it also feels like you might get 1 or 2 cards out of it, and then it's just kind of done.
Also, the nice thing is
6 mana is a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is you don't lose. Like if this dies, it doesn't go back to its owner, which is kind of nice.
That's true. Yeah, that's a really good point. But like 6 mana to steal a non-creature artifact, is a lot. So if you are only going to get it triggering like once, it's not good on its own. It needs the whole mutate package.
More of them. Yep, for sure. I agree. Next one. This one I'm not as big of a fan on.
Mind Leecher?
Yeah.
Mind Leecher, 5, or it's 4 colorless, black, 5/5, nightmare, flying. Whenever this creature mutates, exile the top card of each opponent's library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled.
God, I kept reading this over and over again, and I never caught the "and play." I just thought it said, you may look at those cards for as long as they remain exiled. I'm like, well, fuck.
I love looking at cards.
It's just like, this is the dumbest card ever. But I totally, every time I reread it, I'm like, this isn't a good card because I missed the "and play." All right.
The mutate costs 4 colorless and a black, and so
I dig this one better. I like this one a little bit.
Is this like a better ingest card than like any of Battle for Zendikar cards? Like you're exiling the top card of each opponent's library?
Yeah. Well,
Probably.
it reminds me of Primal Storm, Atali Primal Storm. Isn't he doing the same thing?
Sure. Yeah,
except
that's
those you can
much
cast for
better than this.
free, right?
Yeah, and I think the other problem is here that it doesn't say like
You can
whatever color you want.
Right. So you're screwed
You
if
play
you're
it.
not on color. Like if it's a red card for this deck, you couldn't cast it. That's kind of weird.
I mean, maybe you play this in a Centriplus deck where you're playing other people's cards and you want City of Brass in your deck already.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Works there, but otherwise,
Although
or like a Chromatic Lantern style 5-color deck.
The nice thing though with this is it is play and not cast, so you can play land from other people as well.
Oh, that was a good catch. Yeah.
I always like that. So then you could get somebody that you don't have their colors, and you're like, well, now I do have your color, and the next card that I exile, then I can cast it. Or maybe it is already exiled. There's one there, and you just need the land. Boom! Now you have the land.
I like that.
Yeah.
This
card went from
saying this was
yeah, this went from I don't really like this card to I really like this card.
I don't know if I really like it. It's still really expensive.
It is.
But it's at least considerable.
And by the picture, I think it should be Nightmare Dragon, because that for sure is a fucking dragon.
But no, that's a leech.
A leech with wings.
Mine or leech. I'm not sure which one. And have you ever seen a big leech?
Yes.
Like a foot long leech?
Yeah, actually, yeah, those suckers. Yeah. Get it?
Pun? All right.
If I had my joke drums, where are they? There they are. There we go. I need you here to be able to press things as well, because I'm missing my Lowry.
Well, I also normally push the wrong button.
I know, that makes it awesome.
Beep boop beep.
Okay, so this next one I actually do like quite a bit. Sawtusk Demolisher. It's 4 and 2 green for a beast 6/6 trampler. When this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 green beast creature token. Its mutate cost is 3 and a green. So this is pretty sweet, don't you think? I mean, you're destroying a non-creature permanent. You're getting rid of something off the board. They get a beast token for it, but you're at least have a 6/6 here for blocking if they were to attack with it.
Sure.
But you can continuously destroy non-creature permanents. That's pretty sweet.
That's a nice thing here is I think this is good enough mutate cost. Like it's definitely a solid mutate cost to for this effect. And so like I don't need this in a mutate deck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you can just get, because this destroys a land as well. So you get rid of those Gaia's Cradles. It gets rid of everything but a creature.
What's that big elephant that destroys 3 non-land target?
Yeah.
Targets in,
starts with a T, doesn't it?
3/3 elephant.
Yeah.
Terastodon.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is like a smaller version, much cheaper, and it's still a 6/6 trample for 4. And then you just put this on like a wood elf, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to get rid of one of your like chump blockers that's sat around for long. And then you're just like, boom, 6/6 trampler, destroy one of your things. Sure, you got a 3/3, but
it also taps for a green mana good. At that point.
Seems like a really good.
Yeah, I like this mutate. This is a very good mutate. Okay, let's see. Now we're on the next column. Where are we at?
Deadly Rollick.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of this cycle here, which is pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. Deadly Rollick, 3 colorless black. If you control a commander, it's only a commander, not your commander.
Oh, good point.
You may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Exile target creature
at instant speed.
What?
Yeah.
Instant speed. Free. You get to in every color has a free spell if you have a commander in play, and we'll get to those. But these are nuts.
Yeah.
They're really good, right? Exile target creature. Probably for free. But even at 4, it's not awful.
Mm-hmm. At instant speed.
It's on expected.
Yep. I like it a lot. I like all of these pretty much. I mean, there's some that are worse than other. I think greens is actually probably one of the worst, maybe, but we'll get to that. But this is definitely pretty sweet. All right, the next one is Dredge the Mire, and this is 3 black, and it's a sorcery. Each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, if somebody only has a good creature in the graveyard, well, you just get that one. But I mean, still, you're at least, well, not at least, because if they don't have creatures in the graveyard, then you're not getting anything. But having them choose and you get everybody's one creature is pretty interesting.
Even, like, what's going to be the worst creature in a graveyard? Is somebody going to give you a Wood Elves that's dead? And then you go and get a Forest. So maybe you're off color. That wouldn't be. But 4 mana for potentially 3 creatures is pretty good.
I wish it would add yourself into this, but yes, I think it's pretty good for.
You think it would what?
If you could add yourself, if it had yourself, not just each opponent, because then you could utilize
that'd be too good because you set it up. You'd have to increase the mana cost by 1 or 2
for sure.
Where do you not play it? Like if you're down to 1 player, then yeah, sure you play it. But if there's 3 players and only 1 creature in a graveyard, do you play it? Probably
depends
not.
on the creature.
Yeah, that's true too. No, I think this is a nice situational card. Like it can be really good late game.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't want to be running a lot of, like if you're running a bunch of graveyard removal, this is probably not good for you. But again, this might be good in like those stealing other people like creatures decks. Mm-hmm. So like number 2's Eureka deck probably wants this.
Hey,
right?
number 2.
Probably. Oh, Eureka too. Yeah. I mean, this could, like you just said, it could go in a lot of decks. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a stealing creature deck. This late game could be pretty good. Maybe not as good because there was probably more creatures in the graveyard, but mid-late game, this could be pretty damn. And the thing is maybe at that point, you never know where you're at in the game, but somebody will give you a really good creature because somebody else is too powerful. You know what I'm saying? Out of their graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if somebody's playing out of their graveyard and doing that stuff on purpose,
yeah,
you're doing well.
So, all right, then we move into a pretty damn sweet mono-rock here that every one of the decks has.
Bondur's Ornament, 3 colorless artifact. It taps for any 1 mana or add 1 mana of any color, and then you can pay 4, tap it. Each player who controls a permanent named Bondur's Ornament draws a card.
That's pretty sweet, don't you think? Really? Because do you play the 3-drop? Do you play the 3-drop mono rocks?
Generally not. Okay. I'll play Commander Sphere.
Yeah, I'll play that one.
Because I like if I have any sort of recursion to bring that back. This one, I doubt anybody in our group is going to play this other than you because you seem more excited.
I just like the draw factor. I mean, that's the thing about Commander Sphere is I do like the free sack and draw a card, when everybody's destroying something. But this could be draw a card multiple times if you're not really doing anything. You don't have any. You dumped your hand already.
Yep, I would just say build a better deck. Right? I can't do anything, so I'm just.
Well, no, it's just, you always hit different situations.
Why not just build a better deck?
Well, you always hit situations like that. You play lands that you tap 5. What is it? The tap 5 and everybody, or you draw a card. What is it? The one
just in case I've never used it.
I thought you just used it recently.
Arazka?
Yeah, the one that you have to have Ascend or whatever, or City's Blessing.
City's Blessing.
Yeah. So I thought you recently just used that.
No.
And somebody else is playing it because I saw somebody else use. No, it was totally you using it. You liar! I remember you using that card.
I'm not saying that I don't play it, but I don't think I've used it.
Maybe Jeremy had that and was using it. Somebody was using it when we had our last play group.
Sure. So, but again, that's a land versus this.
What 3
when it comes to this case?
What 3-drop mono-rock, all color mono-rocks would you use? Like, do you use those as much? Or are you just trying to stay with 2?
I tend to only stick with 2, but Commander Sphere is a real card. Like I do that. Man, that's probably about it. Like so I don't play with 1 Power Stone.
would this sit at the
Hey, number 2.
number 2 position for 3-drop mono rocks, or where would this sit for you in 3-drop mono rocks?
Like, how about this? Like, if I'm in an untapping artifact deck, I'd probably consider this. So, like, if you're running Unwinding Clock or Tezzeret the Seeker, and like Voltaic Key, something that untaps all your artifacts and being able to get multiple triggers out of this throughout turns, sure, I would totally use this for that.
So I guess what my thought on it is, what if people are playing this more and you're drawing cards without even having to use the tap 4 ability, because you just have to have this in play. If somebody else does it for themselves, you're fine with your, like you said, you build a better deck, you have enough cards in your hand, whatever. Well, somebody else can tap and do the same thing. You just have to have it in play, and you get the benefit as well. So I think what they're trying to do is make this more of like which is in this deck as well, Arcane Signet, that everybody's going to put it in their deck. I think that they were hoping that, by adding the 1 mana, instead of being a 2-drop, a 3-drop, but giving that draw ability, and if everybody has it, I think the idea is really good. It just depends on if it catches on. And that's what I was trying to say. What
thing, 3 though? Like, remember that goblin that takes people's artifacts when they tap it?
Yeah. I can't. I play with that
when
one.
That
it has the soul ring in his hand.
Yeah, he's stealing the soul ring.
God.
But besides, it's from the Commander product from 2 years ago at this point. But when that comes down, people just stop using their artifact, like mana rocks, and they just do everything they possibly can to not use those. And so if somebody else has one of these out, they will do everything in their way to not have other people draw cards for free. Unless you're both going, hey, if I draw a card and have you draw a card, are you willing to let me draw a card for free as well? So, like, maybe there's that political part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was playing it and somebody else played theirs, it would almost stop me pretty much from paying that much for me and an opponent to draw a card.
You wouldn't pay
That's
that,
how I
you're
would
saying?
look at it. If somebody else had it, I would not pay that draw spell at all.
Yeah, you like to swindle deals. I can see you actually.
I try it, but they backfire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see you trying to do it. I'm trying to find that goblin. It's bugging me that we can't remember his name because we've talked about him so much.
I mean, so situationally, how do you do this? Go kind of like, how about if you want to draw a card, that's cool. I'll draw a card, and I won't attack you for the next turn. Like, do you do that deal?
You know what ends up always happening in situations like that? It's more of, hey, I'm helping you out. I'm going to have you draw because I need to draw a card, and if you don't attack me, it'd be nice, but I don't know. I normally don't try to run deals. I very rarely do that. So I don't know. I think that...
Well, you do a really good job of not putting a target on your back.
Because I don't try to run deals.
On the other hand, I run deals and then it's just like, no, Larry, you will not get this deal.
Treasure Nabber is the goblin, by the way.
Treasure Nabber. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Took me a little bit.
You got the next cool one?
Oh, shit. Now I got to go.
I think the next one's cool.
God dang it. I got to get back to it because I was too busy looking for... all right. So we are... Okay. Yeah. Monoscape Refractor. 3 colorless. It's an artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped. Monoscape Reflector has all activated... Refractor, sorry. Has all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. What?
Seems interesting.
You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to pay the activation costs of Monoscape Refractor's abilities. So it's saying anything that isn't a mana ability, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not getting the Gaia's Cradle because that
no.
But
no,
that would have been sweet. But anything else, so like, how we talk about using your lands as another card, we do that a lot.
So just like doing like a Moorland Haunt, which is like white blue, tap, exile a creature from your graveyard, put a 1/1 into play. You get to do that, and then you can pay blue, white, colorless, tap, Monoscape Refractor, exile a creature, get a 1/1 flying spirit into play. Like, that's really cool. Yeah. I like that. If you're planning on using abilities for your lands, I think this is great. Other than that comes into play tapped. That's a little rough.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah. But think of that. All lands on the battlefield. And if it's in our play group, whew, we have so many. Just between me and you playing how many things with abilities on our activated abilities on our lands,
Mm-hmm.
This thing's going to be, can do anything, you know?
So does this normally is going to be the tap this object part, right? So it's like, it's pay a blue, white, tap this, and then the ability happens. Because I'm looking at it and it doesn't tap for mana.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a bummer.
That isn't part of your mono rock.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit of a drawback there. And
Yeah.
that's probably better anyway. I don't know. Because it's not a land. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it's not a rock. So this fits in more of kind of like your Mirage Mirror in a way. I would play Mirage Mirror over this still, but it has that same kind of thing where you don't know what it's going to, it's going to copy everything that's on the board, but what is everybody playing? You can't really plan for it. It's just more of, and that's what I'm curious about. We have to maybe look at our mana source to see what stuff has activated abilities, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's a lot of them where it's with the black one that makes, was it legendary creature unblockable? That could be useful. You like to use the ones that, like the one that gives you vigilance and lifelink, those lands, the ones that are from like Avacyn.
Vault of the Archangel. Yeah, I like the Avacyn restored stuff. Utility lands. I do like those.
Yeah. So I think we do play with quite a few of them. And if you play with man lands, then this could turn into a man land in a way.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Are there any activated abilities on lands where you don't have to tap the land?
Well, I mean, the man lands right there, you don't have to tap the land.
Sure. But like I was thinking more of like multiple triggers off of paying a bunch of mana. Well, I don't think so. Most of the time you got to tap a land.
We'll probably get some messages showing us which ones they are now that we asked it.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, but they're probably bad. So
we won't even look at it because it's probably really bad.
It's a good idea, but it's impractical.
I guess you could fit in more of you could take advantage by playing a lot of lands that have cool abilities, activated abilities. So this gives you a second chance of using those abilities twice in a turn instead of just once. So that's how you could take advantage of it. I don't know how often you use this in just a regular deck. Like I said, I try to throw Mirage Mirror in as much as I can. This, I don't know if I just go, all right, I'm going to throw this in there. I don't know if there's enough. If it did tap for a mana, then maybe I would do it. But because you can't use mana abilities. I'd
much more rather have it because right now I'm sitting there thinking about how many times do I actually activate the ability of a land? I throw that in for when I need to use it, not to use them. They're like a nice extra bonus in your land base. And here I'm paying mana to do that, and maybe I'm only doing that once or twice a game anyway. So it'd almost be am I doing this in the deck more than once? And you want to be the one enabling it. You don't want to worry about, you don't want to count on what other people are doing either.
Yeah. Arcane Lighthouse would be something you could use a little bit with it. Well, here's a question. I don't know if this will work because it's not this, but fetch lands, it couldn't do that, right? I mean, that's an activated ability, but you're sacrificing that fetch land, and this is not that fetch land, so you can't sacrifice.
You'd be able to do that.
You think so? Pay one?
Yeah, I think so.
Pay one? That's
a good point.
I want to pull one up.
Because it's an activated ability that's not mana. That's how I would say.
But what I was curious about was that it says sacrifice Bloodstained Mirror. Search your library. You're paying one life to sacrifice Bloodstained Mirror, but this isn't Bloodstained Mirror. So could you really sacrifice it? You know what I'm saying? Because part of its ability is paying 1 life, sacrifice that card, search your library. It isn't saying sacrifice a card called that. So could you really even do that? Questions that need answers. All right, number 2. I'm waiting for your text.
Can't listen to that right now.
All right, let's move on.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know. It's funny is I'm glad that we had that other segment we were going to do, and we're almost at an hour right now. We haven't even gone through one deck.
That's trouble.
Let's move with these next 3 pretty quick because they're the new goading thing, which let's just talk about all 3 of them here.
That's a good question. No.
What was that?
I was looking up the wording too, and you might be right there.
With Bloodstained Mirror, like the fetching you're talking about?
Okay. Parasitic Impetus. 2 colorless black. It's an aura. Enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, its control.
Whoa, burp.
Whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Oh, I dig that.
Yeah, and then you got the blue one, which is Psychic Impetus, and that's 2 and a blue. Enchanted creature gets 2/+2 and goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 2. I like that. I think even better than the black one.
Well, I think they go in different decks, right?
Well, they're in the same deck here.
Predatory Impetus, 4 colorless green aura. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3. Must be blocked if able, and is goaded.
This one, I see why it's more expensive. It's kind of interesting. It adds like that person, whoever they're attacking, has to block it. So that's they can't just let that sucker roll through. So then we have the other ones too. We'll get to those. Is there anything else from this?
I agree with you. I like the Psychic Impetus.
Yeah, scrying 2 every time.
You just toss this on you toss these on a creature that is hard to block or really big, and then it's forcing them to attack your opponents. Yeah, I can dig them quite a bit.
Yeah,
like the practical or parasitic impetus, it goes right into that drain and gain stuff that we talked about with Kakusho, and it's every upkeep. Again, you don't want to lose the auras after just one. You want them to trigger a bunch.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to pull up the other ones really quick so we can just keep those all in the same. But what is it? Martial Impetus is the white one. It's 2 and white. Enchanted creature gets 1/+1 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets 1/+1 until end of turn.
Cool.
Yeah.
The green one so far is like the worst.
And then you got Shiny Impetus, and that is 2 and a red for a 2/2 goaded, or gives 2/+2 and it's goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, create a treasure token. So I put this on the line with the blue one. So this one reminds me of that curse in a way.
Oh, Curse of Opulence?
Yeah. You're getting a treasure token. You can get more with the Curse of Opulence, but you're putting this on a big creature or putting it on something that's, like you said, hard to kill, and you're getting a treasure token every single turn.
I can see the red one and the white one going in like a Gahiji deck.
Oh, yeah?
And because they have to attack somebody else, and then they get the +2/+0 plus whatever effect is happening with these impetuses. That seems pretty cool. I like that a lot.
So really quick with that deck that we looked at, how do you feel about the mutate stuff?
Mutate seems interesting, but it also, like, in this deck specifically, they don't have, like, it doesn't seem like there's any creatures with hexproof or like protection. So getting 2 for 1 is going to be feeling pretty bad. Yeah.
I think we talked about this on the when we did the live stuff, but I think as they keep adding, if they keep this mutate going, the more and more stuff you add, the more and more tools you get here, the better. We didn't talk about all the mutate stuff because some of this stuff is actually in the Ikoria set, so we didn't kind of go over that stuff. So there's a lot more new stuff, but it's in the set itself. I think there's quite a bit in here, which is really nice. So this could be very interesting.
I don't think they're ever going to do mutate again until a couple of years from now, at least. So,
sure.
There's not going to be a second set coming of mutate.
Yeah.
It does seem like they have a lot in there for mutate. So, there might be enough for like a cool, fun deck.
But it's basically going to be like use all the mutate cards, and that's your deck.
Might be.
All right, should we move on to the next deck? Because we got one deck down and we're an hour into this.
Symbiotic Swarm. Let's not complain. Let's just revel in this awesomeness.
Is it me? No, it's you.
Yes. Let's go with you. You get this one.
No, I just read all the other
Doesn't matter. I read the top commander.
You're making me read. It's because you can't read it because it's too far. It's too many words. Too small.
Words. There's a ton of words on there. I can do it. Cathril Aspect Warper, 2 colorless, white, black, green. It's a 3/3 legendary creature, nightmare insect. When Cathril Aspect Warper enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on any creature you control if a creature card in your graveyard has flying. Repeat this process for first strike, double strike, death touch, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. Then put a 1/1 counter on Cathril for each counter put on a creature this way.
Crazy. The only thing you're missing is haste out of this, but
they did that on purpose.
One shot kill.
Because then you would just have him go +1/+1 a ton of times, give him the haste token, and then.
Well, you give him everything, you
do that too.
You give him the first strike, double strike, death, or why would you give him first strike, double strike? But you give him double strike, death touch, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink. Yeah.
And we talked about this on Discord, but there's last strike too, and I feel like he should be able to get last strike, first strike, and double strike.
Triple strike. Yeah.
Triple strike.
This is pretty much, I'm guessing what this deck is going to be is just filling your graveyard up with a bunch of different things with different abilities. So, and here's the new thing, is adding counters for the abilities instead of, up until this point, the way your creature had things was it had an aura or an equipment that gave that to them. But now they're making it so you can put counters on your creature. So that's kind of the mutate part, is your creature mutates into this thing. It gets it as a little counter. So they're going to be providing these counters to be able to put on your creatures, which I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool card. I like that it's a good way to represent it. Like there's a card called Soul Flare that is just like it gains all these abilities, or Rayami that just gains these abilities, and you're like, what does it have again? And so now we at least can put
counters on them.
These tokens on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, these counters. But for those other ones that don't technically get the counters on them, you could still have that there to represent what they get.
For sure.
So that's kind of nice that it can be used in different ways.
But they do, doubling season will work with this because we will come across cards that make it so you can move these counters from creature to creature. So having more than one lifelink counter on a creature does matter and will matter with cards we get to here.
You can, yeah.
Next card is Cartographer's Hawk. One in a colorless and a white is a bird, 2/1 flying. When it deals combat damage to a player who controls more lands than you, return it to its owner's hand. If you do, you may search your library for a plains card, not a basic, but a plains card. Put it on the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle your library. Pretty sweet. I dig this card a lot. I like white being able to go grab stuff like that. And I like that it's not just a basic plains, it's any plains.
Yeah, this is going. Yeah, you hit a lot of really good points, and this is going straight into my God Eternal Oketra deck. Wants me to cast more creatures.
Yeah.
So returning it back to my hand and also ramping,
yeah,
hopefully, and then being able to recast it to create a 4/4 vigilance seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, does this go in almost every white deck? Kind of feels like if there is no green. I mean, this one does have green, but still.
Yeah, that's somebody. I did see somebody on Twitter pointed out going, I hate that this card is in this specific commander deck because there's green and black and there's enough mana ramp in there. Like, why isn't this in the black, red, white one that has the worst type of ramp? Like, this should just be in that deck, right?
For sure. Yeah.
A green deck, would you put this in there? Probably not. If I was in a Mardu deck, red, black, green, white, yeah, probably. I can see this.
Yeah. All right. Next one is another partner commander.
Nikara Lair Scavenger. 2 colorless black, 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric. Partners with Yannick, Scavenging Sentinel. So this 2/2 has a menace, and whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had one or more counters on it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
And then its counterpart, let me try to find that. Yannick,
like this one specifically on its own, I'm like bored. Like it's bad, right?
Because it needs the counters on it.
Not very good. Yeah, I mean, there's just better cards that don't need the counters or the specifics. It's just like whenever a creature dies.
Right. I guess
this could be a token, which would be nice. Most of those say non-token creature.
Yeah, but you have to get a counter on them.
On the token, but you can just maybe you're putting 1/1 counters. On all of your creatures at a time. So.
But what it works with is Yannick Scavenging Sentinel, which is 2 green and a white 3/3 hyena beast. Partner with what the one we just talked about. It has vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, exile another creature you control until Yannick leaves the battlefield. When you do, distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures where X is the exiled creature's power. So that's how you get the counters.
Yeah, so it's an enabler with it.
Still not like an amazing pair. I can see them working together, of course, but it's like, all right, sweet.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of work.
4
3 into 4.
Yeah.
Is the Nakira you control leaves the battlefield? Okay, maybe that's a little bit different. Leaving the battlefield is different than dying.
Right. For a second there, before you read that it had a counter on it, I was like, oh, this is another Eureka card because leaving the battlefield, but it has to have a counter on it for me to draw a card.
Yeah, you don't have anything that really has the counters on there, but that does change the perspective a little bit. I still think this is a bit of work, and is not going to say it's bad, but I don't know if I'm going to work that hard.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
All right. Our next card, we're going back up a little
Daring Fiend Bonder.
Yep.
3 colorless black. It's a 5/1 human warlock. It has haste. Daring Fiend Bonder attacks each combat if able. And then you can pay colorless and a black for exile Daring Fiend Bonder from your graveyard. Put an indestructible counter on target creature. Activate this ability only at sorcery speed.
I wish it wasn't sorcery speed. It'd be a lot sweeter, but it's still
combat trick.
Still interesting. It's really you're trying to get them in your graveyard and then give something else indestructible.
Sure, but I mean, like, I would probably end up blocking a 5/1 haste. Haste is big too. I think that's really interesting. I like that.
What is he holding in his hand? Is it? Must be a fiend.
I think it's a nightmare kitty. There seems to be a lot of kitties around.
Yeah, this seems pretty interesting. I don't know how much I'll play it, but
I could see myself fitting this into
your one dude that you play from your graveyard. One of each kind of permanent from your graveyard. What's his name? Oh,
well, no. I wouldn't want to do that there. You're Modrotha? No, because
you have to exile
exiling this guy. Yeah. So I would want to put this in, what's the Thran Physician? Yawgmoth? Yawgmoth Thran Physician. So I could get this in 5/1. If they don't block, I can just sacrifice it and then pay 2, make Yawgmoth indestructible, and that seems good.
Yeah.
I would be super happy with that.
Yeah, it's almost like a spell in a way.
It's like 5 damage, or kill a creature if they block,
or you draw,
or 5 damage to the face,
Yeah.
or indestructible for one of your creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That all seems good. I'm happy with that card.
The next one I think is pretty freaking interesting. Slippery Bog Bhandar. So it's the slippery boggle dude. But it's just a green instead of green blue. So he's 3 and a green, 3/3 flash. Or it's a human druid, so it's not actually the slippery boggle dude. Has flash hexproof. When it enters the battlefield, put a hexproof counter on target creature. Then move any number of counters from among creatures you control onto that creature. So you can just stockpile one creature with all those counters. Seems pretty interesting. I like that it's flash and has hexproof, and at the very least is giving another creature hexproof.
Yeah, that's pretty
protection
cool.
Spell right there.
And then that's what you're saying, like moving around those counters.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it'd be nice if you could choose how many counters you want. Yeah, that's a good point too. All one counters all go to that too. Oh wait, no,
so
it says
somebody's going to kill your big thing, and then you're like, well, flash in slippery Bog Bhandar, put it over onto this creature, which also has hexproof, and remove all of those counters on that creature onto another creature. That seems really cool.
And you know what? I misread it in the beginning. I was always thinking that it was just you had to move all the counters onto them, but it's saying any number, so you get to choose what counters you want. So that's even better than I was originally thinking.
So it doesn't have to be all of the counters you control. It's just, but it can be too.
Yeah,
that can be another thing. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have another commander that could be your commander in this set here.
I am Luminous Enigma, colorless, white, black, green, 3/3. It's a legendary creature, Nightmare Beast. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional vigilance counter on it. Seems weird. 3 colorless ability, remove 3 counters from among creatures you control. Put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard, then return a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Among creatures you control.
Mm-hmm. With an additional, so it says with an additional vigilance counter. So if it isn't coming in with any vigilance counter, it still gets a vigilance counter on it, right?
I believe so. Yeah. So I would think that it's giving all of your creatures essentially vigilance.
Okay. Yeah, because for a second there I was like, does it have to be getting vigilance first? And then it's like, well, then what's the point of that? Having 2. But
there aren't enough cards that would.
So it's
give it.
Yeah, additional. So it's at least
and
giving
then
it
removing
1.
3 counters. You mill 3, and then you can return
a permanent
mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's like self mill, also returning stuff. It kind of all plays into itself. Might be enough. It seems
4.
cool.
Yeah. Seems like you make an interesting deck with it. This seems like a Lowry deck right here.
Well, I mean, you would really want to be highly card from your graveyard to the.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the card that went to the graveyard.
You could return a land, right? For a permanent card.
Yeah, for sure.
Converted mana cost 3 or less.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, unless you're mana screwed, then it's best case right there. This could be interesting. Yeah. It has your name written all over it, so it makes me feel like I should play it, because then I just step out of my comfort zone a little bit there.
Hey, you can definitely build with that. We're not going to be able to get our hands on this for a couple months while
that's a good point.
Going around.
You have to play. Oh no, you can't even play it on Arena. Wah wah.
Well, you can't because it's Commander.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not going to be able to play it in person for. All right, let's not go down that road. Let's not get depressed. All right, next one is Vitality Hunter, 3 and a white nightmare, 3/4 lifelink, monstrosity X. So it's white X. When it becomes monstrous, put a lifelink counter on each of up to X target creatures. I like that. You like that? I like that.
Okay, so it still gets the counters on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also get to put a bunch of lifelink counters on X target creatures. You already have lifelink on that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Monstrous X, so it's not too expensive, not too cheap. It's kind of whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I mean, it goes in a lifelink deck for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Nightmare Tribal, right?
We are getting a lot of nightmares here.
There is. Yeah, Scary Nights. Avenging Hunt Bonder. 3 colorless, white, 3/3 double strike. Whenever Avenging Hunt Bonder attacks, put a double strike counter on another target attacking creature.
I like that a lot. That every time you're putting in a double strike counter on something, that's pretty sweet.
That seems really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Because there are those cards that, like, whenever this attacks, maybe another one gets double strike, or, you know, and it's just like until end of turn, but like this
to
giving
keep
it
the counter on there is pretty
totally
awesome.
5 mana might be a little much, but a 3/3 double striker for 5 is not awful. No, and then giving other creatures
for sure
double strike is sweet.
All right, the next one is our next green, like, freebie card. This one's green, which is the one I think I don't like the most, but it's 2 and a green. Oh, Obscuring Haze is what it's called. 2 and a green instant. If you control your commander, control a commander, that was a good point that Larry pointed that out. You may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. So yours still deal the damage. So it's a better fog.
Oh, for sure. That's a really good point. Yeah. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that makes it a little bit better.
I would run this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Like that's not even, doesn't even have to go into like a fog themed deck where you just need that extra fog. Like this is
the cool thing about all this, like these freebies like that, is I like that they're doing this because it makes it so it is a question for people, like if they tap themselves all out. You know, we're having more and more of these. Like, you know, you had for Modern Horizons the counterspell one. What's his name?
Pact of Force of Negation.
Yeah. So you're having more of these where it's like, you know, normally when you look at the board, you're like, all right, everybody's tapped out. Now I can do my win con and I'm going to do this and that. And now it's like, you actually have to think twice. Like, there's freebies out there and they keep making more and more of them. And I kind of dig that you don't have to feel so bad if you're tapping out just to get your commander out. You have possible responses to, and I think I like whites a lot because it reminds me of Heroic Intervention, but that's what I like about that one is
I think the problem that I have with this kind of thing is, like, I like these and I like what they've done, but if they continue to do this, you're just going to be playing free spells eventually. Like, you don't want Magic to be like
free,
unrestricted free spells.
Yeah.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. Cause I will say there's this comfort. I don't know if you get this, but when you look at the board and it's your turn and everybody's tapped out, you're like, all right, now I can play whatever I want. I don't have to be strategic about who's going to counter this or who's going to interrupt me here. But then by adding this, it's still like, oh, maybe it still does get countered. Shit.
I'm not worried about anything you guys do. So.
Oh, good for you.
All right, why don't you read the next?
You gotta cut up that bit I had earlier and just like build better decks.
Yeah, that is a good point. If the quality's good, it just our quality for internet isn't that good. So if you said it and it was good quality, I'm going to do that totally. That's a good idea.
Selective adaptation. 4 colorless green sorcery. Reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Choose from among them a card with flying, a card with first strike, and so on for double strike, death touch, haste. They got bored of it. And so on for double strike, death touch.
That is funny. Wait. Back that up. That is funny that they went flying, a card with first strike, and so on. You think they would stop there, but then they went for double, like then they kept going.
You don't want to keep on repeating like from among cards with flying, a card with first strike. Like they could have said like a card for double strike, a card for death touch. That would have been stupid.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, but it just feels like they're like, yeah, okay, you get it. Let's just do this. Double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, Venice, reach, menace. Reach,
yeah, I was wondering. I thought it was a glitch. I was like, oh, maybe it glitched there, and it just sounded like he was talking about deer meat.
Nope.
Oh, that's venison. That's Venice. You're talking.
Put them into the battlefield and other chosen cards into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Hold on. Put one of the chosen cards into your battlefield, and then the other chosen cards into your hand. The rest into your graveyard.
That's pretty insane. That's crazy.
Put one of them chosen cards
you
into your
choose
battlefield.
one
the
into
other
your,
chosen cards into your hand. Oh, and then anything not chosen goes into the graveyard. Okay.
So out of all those, you get to choose one to go into play, and then if any of those others fit in there, like it has first strike or double strike or whatever, goes into your hand, and then everything else graveyard. That's kind of crazy. That is pretty crazy.
I like that. I mean, that could be a really good card advantage, but 6 mana is a lot.
Yeah, but for 7 cards, looking at the top 7 and having one of those go directly into play.
Sure. I mean, like, I think the odds are this. I don't think this is as good as Rishgar's expertise.
What is that one?
Probably. It's same mana cost, sorcery, and then you get to draw cards for the highest power you control, and then you can put one card from your hand into play of 5 mana or less.
I don't know, because this gives you, like you said, card advantage, though. If you hit any of the other ones, I mean, you're getting those into your hand, too. Instead of Rishkar's is just one card in, you know?
That's from your hand, too. So, like, this, you could hit a lot bigger, but you can not get anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 7 cards pretty deep, so more than likely you're going to get one. But I also don't play cards that like allow me to cheat cards into play from the top 6 or 7 or whatever. There's a couple others. I don't play those. I think the odds aren't really for you. So with all these abilities, like maybe. But I don't see you might be able to put one into play, one into your hand. That's how I see it. You might get 2. And with Rishkars, you're going to be able to draw probably 4 or 5 cards. And
it depends if you're creature heavy. If you're creature heavy, then you could probably hit more. Sure. Yeah.
But I wouldn't run this in my Nikia deck. I don't have enough of these keywords to really make it work.
Well, the only thing that really matters is trample, because then you hit your Crater Hoof Behemoth.
And then you just cheat one card into play.
Crater Hoof right into play, and then you win the game.
Yeah. And I can't play this card in Nikia, but I was just making it a point, like, you got to be playing a lot of these different abilities too.
But it's hitting a lot of them. I mean, you're almost hitting every single thing that there is. We're just missing.
My last strike?
We're just missing a Rampage and banding. Where's our banding? That's what we really need.
Is that a thing?
It's not a thing. It was a thing.
Why is it phasing on there? I get Teferi's protection.
There you go. All right. Next card is Neither Netherborn Altar. 1 black, and this is an artifact. You can tap it to put a soul counter on Netherborn. Put your commander into your hand from the command zone. Then you lose 3 life for each time or each soul counter that is on it. That's kind of interesting. It's making it so that if your commanders died a shit ton, Lowry would like this card a lot because yours tends to die a lot because you're targeted. But I think they're giving a big enough tax of 3 life that it isn't just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put this in my hand. It's like, oh, okay, 3 life, that's fine the first time, and the next time it's okay, 6 life. All right, that's starting to get up there. Next time's not, like it increases quite a bit.
In certain decks, I would much prefer to do the 3 life rather than 2 mana, commander tax.
For sure. That's why makes you make a choice with it, Like in the beginning, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but if your commander dies a lot, and you're getting late game, I mean, that can get...
This doesn't go in every black deck.
No.
But I think it's a good choice to consider in certain decks. And one thing that I saw on Twitter was Phage the Untouchable or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's if you didn't cast this legendary creature from your hand, you lose the game. So like people like running that as the commander, and then you have like Command Beacon in your lands. That's really the only way you get to play Phage. And this actually just gives you that extra thing. So there's still not enough that does it, but
I would say this goes in your higher casting cost commanders possibly, because you can then not have, because it costs a lot more to bring it out into play. You'd much rather, like you said, take the 3 life than keep adding on to that cost. When you're getting to even this commander that for this set 5, I mean, you start getting 5, 6, 7 range, that gets to be high. So if it dies 1 or 2 times, that's a little spending to get that thing back out.
And maybe this is a card that you use when you have like a higher, like a way to cheat creatures out from your hand, or if you're a reanimation style deck, but your commander is really high casting cost, like you get it into your hand, discard it into your graveyard, and then reanimate it back into play, or you have like an Elvish Piper, and then you get it into your hand, Elvish Piper into play. That could be kind of, maybe just a little cheat thing, making sure you can play stuff from your hand.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have the last card in this deck is Nesting Grounds. This is a land. Taps for 1 colorless, or you can tap 1 and tap it. Move a counter from target permanent you control onto another target permanent. Activate this ability only time you can cast a sorcery. So it will stay whatever counter you're moving stays that counter. So you can move if you have double death touch on somebody, you can move the death touch over to the other one. You got to remember with planeswalkers don't have counters per se. So it's not moving a plane. Like you can't move a counter onto a planeswalker because it doesn't have counters. It's what is it called? I mean, it's not going off a plane or counters, right?
I mean, doubling season doubles all counters.
Oh, that's a good point. Because then
maybe it's a loyalty token. I don't know. I think it's a loyalty counter.
So you move a loyalty counter onto your creature, and it does nothing except it's loyal.
From target permanent you control onto another target permanent. So maybe, I mean, you could do a loyalty counter from a planeswalker to a creature.
Planeswalker to a planeswalker.
Yeah, you can definitely do themes like. When I say definitely, I mean maybe.
This is all new for us here. New. It's funny because we did this one I didn't do this one, but we keep mentioning the Discord when we did the live thing, but we had talked about, man, there just need to be, is there a card out there that moves counters? And the only thing we could really come up with that made sense or was close to what we were talking about was Giant Fan, which is from like Unhinged.
Unhinged, yeah.
Which is pretty much this exact card, except for what that did is if it moved a counter that didn't like equal what it was moving over to, it just turned it into a 1/1 counter. Made more sense than this stupid card. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually pretty sweet. I like that you can be
this
able
card
to...
seems really cool.
Yeah,
I like it. I think the whole deck seems really cool. I like the idea of ability counters because it just makes things more clear for other past cards. Not a lot of them, but I think it's a really kind of cool idea because you can even put those counters on cards that gain that ability for that turn and then just take them off so then people can understand like, oh, that has trample right now.
Yeah.
And if you have a bunch of them and you're like, Craterhoof Behemoth, trample counters everywhere, like you'll probably already get it, but
trample counters everywhere. You get one, and you get one, and you get one.
Let me put those counters down.
Yeah, no, these first two decks, both of them I really like. I can see building. I just love how many legendaries we have.
I know that I was hesitant about having things tied in with the standard set, but I think they did a really good job.
Lowry's
so far
coming around. Lowry's coming around.
When I'm not worried, like I think these are really cool decks so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think so far they've done a pretty good job.
See, we balance each other out. I'm really excited for this and blah blah blah. And you're like, man, this doesn't sound good. This is just gonna be bad. And then it just, we balance it, right?
I go into it knowing like, hey, can it get worse than I think it could be? It's almost always better. So
we did an on-air production meeting, and what this is going to be cut into is 2. So this is part 1 because we talked a lot. Part 2 is going to be 3 decks, but we'll go kind of quick because we've talked about a lot of the cards. I didn't say a lot, but a handful of the cards are repeats, like the artifacts, the ones that we talked about earlier. So we're going to kind of cut this one short. Not short. Yeah, we're cutting this one short at an hour and a half.
It's shorter than it could have been.
Right. This could have been a 3-hour thing. So, but I like the discussion we're having with all this.
People are clamoring for that. Let's just go to the 3 hours. Let's do this, man.
Yeah, right. Let's break the record, man. I mean, we're all on quarantine anyways. What else are we going to do? You got podcasts to listen to. So
there's plenty of people that I'm sure are baiting right now. So
we had to get a masturbation reference at one point in here. Good job, Larry.
I don't think we said dick one time.
No,
like it felt weird. I don't know if I'm okay with this.
What felt weird? I don't know what we're talking about. All right, so we're going to cut this one off here, and then we're going to probably do later in the week. There might be another episode later this week. So then we're going to do the next 3 decks right after that.
Like a circumcision.
We don't know what that's like, Lowry.
I know. It's so weird.
Wizard sleeves or anteaters.
To be wizards, you should hire us.
We have our own wizard sleeve. You don't need to give us a wizard sleeve because we have one. That didn't make any sense.
Cool story, Hansel.
There we go. Cool story, Hansel. All right. We will catch you guys on part 2.
Well, thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.